After winning the game of Spurs that ended Navy in the last minutes 3-2, Arteta went ahead to confirm that it was Navy. And when they conceded the second goal, the penalty, he pointed onto the head and telling his players, your mentality should really try to obviously be as per standards. And the game that started as a game that wasn't tight-lipped, it ended up in a Navy way, but at the end of it all, Arsenal went ahead to win it by 3-2. Had gone ahead to go in for a 3-1 win for the club of Arsenal, but they found themselves in a position of really giving Spurs a way back into the game by that howler that came in through from the man known as David Raya. And from that, they've been resting ever since, I think it was Sunday, and now they are really getting ready for tomorrow. It's an early kickstarter. Arsenal is hosting Bournemouth at the Emirates Stadium, and that's why we are here to talk about that game of football, Arsenal versus Bournemouth, in what we call a match preview at Rokani Media Football. As it stands, Arsenal doesn't have any injured players. They're really fit and everyone is ready to go. When you look at the side of Bournemouth, they're really having a couple of players that are really injured, but some will really undergo what we call a late fitness test assessment. Anthony Semenyo, one of their best players this season, left onto the stretcher when they're playing against Brighton. That is last weekend. Then Chris Mepfam is really having an illness. Milos Kakezi is having a suspension. Romain Favre is having a thigh injury. Luis Sinistera is having a thigh injury. Marcus Tavernier is having a thigh injury. And Ryan Hendricks is having a calf injury. Taylor Adams is having a back injury. Philip Billing is having illness, meaning that for him, he'll obviously come. And Zabarani is having an illness. And they'll also require once overs in the coming hours. That's why I told you that it's going to be all about the late fitness test. But they also will come back the return of Dango Outara to see to it that they did fall. And Lowell Case also takes up left back duties into the mix. Now, however much they're really having very many players doubtful, that won't stop them from obviously putting in a very strong lineup that can obviously take on Arsenal and maybe even shock them. You know, when you look at Bournemouth, their season is over. The season of Bournemouth is over. Do you know why it's over? They have nothing to fight for. As we speak right now in the Premier League table, Bournemouth is 10th. They have all the luxury, to do whatever they want in that game. Whether they lose or not, it doesn't cost them. Staying alone in the Premier League is just a huge achievement for them. And they have a Sri Lankan guy who has gone ahead to score 18 goals this season. It shows you how good he is when it comes to obviously killing off those chances that he gets as a player. So, when you look at Arsenal, they are playing as the team that is seated on top of the Premier League table with 80 points, and they have a chance to obviously go to 83 for how they beat Bournemouth. And one of the reasons as to why Arsenal should come out and really feel like Premier League is going to have to give them a go, they no longer really have that pressure. Like, they play after Man City, and that is really huge pressure. So this time around, Man City is gonna be the team to play after Arsenal plays, and Man City will be playing at 9:30. That is tomorrow. Arsenal is going to be playing at 14:30. So that gives Arsenal a very huge allowance. All they have to do is win your game. After winning your game, wait for the results and see how Man City really performs. And on the 11th of May, those are 5 days later, Arsenal will be playing Manchester United, and Man City would have gone ahead to play earlier before on Saturday, and they'll be playing Fulham. So that means Man City will have a chance to overtake Arsenal if at all they win their next two games, because Arsenal will have to be playing against Man United in the coming week on Sunday. So it's really huge for the club of Arsenal, and all they have to do is to kill off this game of football. And being at Emirates, that stadium is going to be rocking. And I tell you, they'll be looking to obviously get in a win. And Mikel Arteta will be really very, very much in the mode to see to it that he doesn't see to it that this game really get tightly. Last season, you remember when they're playing Bournemouth, how they won that game at Emirates. It was 2-0 at halftime. Partey pulled one back. Benjamin White leveled, and Reece Nelson scored the winner. But having gone ahead to put out such efforts, Arsenal down tools in the dying games of the season. Out of the 9, I think they lost most of them and they imploded. But this time round, Arsenal has failed to implode. After losing to Aston Villa, most of us thought that, Arsenal was going to obviously implode and really not take on the best. But I tell you, they're really doing better and they're having a better analysis and a better reaction, better than that of last season. The system that Arteta is going to be using tomorrow is all about a 4-3-3. And you know, he's a man who sticks onto his system. He rarely changes unless otherwise he wants to obviously kill off the game in a nick of time. Now, in goal, however much you went ahead to obviously make a huge mistake, I tell you, it's going to be David Raya in between the stitches for the club of Arsenal to obviously do the needful. He's going to start. He had nothing to do in that entire game of Spurs, but he played Spurs back into the game, and he failed himself from obviously getting what we call a clean sheet, or the 15th clean sheet. It was his 29th Premier League game for Arsenal, and he is still at 14 clean sheets because he gives away that ball to bring Spurs back in the game. Spurs had already gone ahead to give up. The fans were not cheering up their team because they knew to it that it was done and dusted, and it was unbelievable. For 2 consecutive times in a row, Arsenal have gone ahead to get a win that side. Right back, I think it's going to be Benjamin White. No doubt about that. Left back, I think Zinchenko is returning. Zinchenko is returning into the mix. You know, he's going to be played as a left back because it's long since he last played a game for Arsenal. So the manager looks like he'll find this as a perfect game to give Zinchenko a go into this game. Central defense, no question about it. Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. People don't know the importance of really having a very permanent back four and a very sorry about that, and having a very permanent center back partnership. I've been reading one of the quotations that Erik ten Hag is going to have to be exchanging with Gary Neville when Gary Neville posed the question to him about why Man United is having very many injuries and why they've gone ahead to concede close to 600 shots throughout the season. He said, last season, the team of Man United had a stable back five and they kept 17 clean sheets and they're the best clean sheeted team in the league. This season, partnerships have gone ahead to change very many times, 20 plus, and you come out and really ask such a question, the answer is in the glass. That's why I tell you that Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes being the first choice center back for the side of Arsenal is really very good because they read themselves well, they complement each other, and even it's very easy for the goalkeeper to communicate with them. You rather be changing the fullbacks and keep the center back partnership tight. So that center back partnership has gone ahead to see Arsenal keep close to 15-16 clean sheets this season, and it shows you how huge they've gone ahead to perform in there for you. So that is exactly what this side of Arsenal is all about, and you all know that it's really going to be very important for this side to do the needful. So I look at that and I really understand that it's really very important for Arsenal to keep that back line at the same levels and keeping it unchanged. We go to the midfield. I think it's going to be Declan Rice to play into the stadium area because when you're playing a team like Bournemouth, I think you need a Declan Rice to play into the stadium area. Who is going to be playing alongside them? I think Martin Odegaard joins the party, and Kai Havertz is going to be joining the party, playing into the midfield, because when you're playing against this team, no reason to obviously play a double pivot. If it's not Kai Havertz there, I think it will be Leandro Trossard, because you don't need to obviously risk your players that you need away at Old Trafford next Sunday. Yet you can really reserve them and really have a force that can really annihilate Bournemouth at Emirates. There is no need to play double pivot for me. No need to obviously sacrifice the position of another attacking midfielder to another player who is really defensive minded. So I really prefer to see Arsenal having that midfield three, because this is Bournemouth. It's a 10-place team. You get? If Arteta could go brave and say against Aston Villa, I'm not going to go with the double pivot, and when he brought on Jorginho, he was the reason for them conceding goals, why could he obviously do the needful and really see to it that he really brings in Partey or Jorginho alongside Declan Rice? I think the first 60 minutes should be played like that, and then the Parteys should be given a goal later into the game as they prepare for the game of Man United. It's hard to cross the bridge before you reach it, but I think you need Thomas Partey more in the game of Manchester United than the game of Bournemouth. Then right forward, it's Saka in there for you. He was really here. It had been really long since Saka last scored, because he has been at 14 goals for a very long time. And against Spurs, he went ahead, obviously scored that goal. That was really pretty. You know, Kai Havertz responsible for the assist, and he's now at 15. And I've not yet gone ahead, obviously, gate off my bait that I see Saka scoring 20 goals this season in the Premier League, because he's left with 5. And this is the perfect game for him to obviously score like a hat-trick. I want to see Saka score a hat-trick, by the way, you know. And it's a game that comes into the perfect time for Saka to really do the needful and really put in what you call a hat-trick. Even if he scores a brace, it will be great, because he'll be left with just 3 goals to go. And in that game of Man United, he knows Saka is going to score, because Saka has always gone ahead, obviously, be one of those people that have gone ahead to score very many goals against Man United. Amongst all the existing players at Arsenal, I don't think there is a player at Arsenal right now that has gone ahead to score more goals against Man United than Bukayo Saka, right? So we wait and see how that pans out, but he's going to be given a very huge task on the afternoon to obviously score goals, and I want him to score. I want him to hit 20 goals this season, because that's the key to unlock his ceiling next season. Because if he really breaks that deadlock, then next season he'll be knowing that I can score 20 goals a season, and he will be like, I've turned out into a player that I'm supposed to be. And him as a player, he will obviously get to know that I have a potential to do that. So for me, I really want to see Saka score 20 goals. On the left, I think it's going to be Leandro Trossard. He's really having a very fantastic season, and the manager is really going to be playing him. I don't think that he's going to drop him. Martinelli, that would have gone ahead to vie for this position, is really looking rusty and looking very bad. Then leading the line, I think Gabriel Jesus. If he doesn't start this time around, then something will be wrong, because 2 games non-starting. If you are the manager, this is the perfect game to start Gabriel Jesus and see how he's really going to come up and react onto him, having gone ahead to be benched in the previous 2 games of Arsenal. I think you need a reaction from him, and this is the best game to obviously see him really start, because in that game of Arsenal versus Man United, there is no way you start him, because the position is not going to be there, as you have to kill that Kai Havertz position in the midfield to put in Thomas Partey or Jorginho, and let Kai Havertz lead the line at Old Trafford, and maybe Trossard playing off the left. So it will depend, but I see Jesus into the starting 11 of Arsenal. If he doesn't start, I'll be shocked. And it shows you that even in the training sessions, Jesus is really off form and not looking good. I was shocked in the game of Spurs that he was not even brought on, because it was a game of football that needed a lot of intensity, running left, right and center, but the manager said no, I rather stick with Kai Havertz, who was 100% unfit to come in through and really do the job. That is the ugly bit of it. And Jesus should be like, oh my, something is wrong. Then I should obviously up my stockings into the mix. So we wait and see how that pans out. But that is my probable starting 11. I know you have yours. You can as well go into the comment section and tell me what your thoughts are about your starting 11. But all in all, we are really doing lots of things together. Now, let's go to the head-to-head stats. And you know, after the head-to-head stats, that's when I obviously get in my prediction. And Arsenal have won all 6 of their home Premier League matches against Bournemouth. The Gunners have only played more home games against Stoke while maintaining a 100% record, 10 out of 10. So, Arsenal have won all their home games against Bournemouth. That gives them a very huge go into this game of football in what we call it's called comparative advantage, you know. Then secondly, Bournemouth have only picked up 5 points in 13 Premier League matches against Arsenal, 1 win, 2 draws and 10 losses, and have never kept a clean sheet against the Gunners. The Cherries have only played more games against Man City without recording a shout out. So that is it through. So they've gone ahead to suffer a lot at Arsenal. They haven't gone ahead to keep a clean sheet, and that gives Arsenal a very good age to obviously score and really damage the team of Bournemouth. Thirdly, Arsenal have won 13 of their 15 Premier League matches so far in 2024, dropping points only against Manchester City, Aston Villa 2-0 this year. However, the Gunners have conceded 4 goals in their last 4 league games, as many as their previous 11 combined. So, in the previous 4 games, Arsenal have conceded 2 against Villa. Arsenal has conceded 2 against Tottenham Hotspur, but they haven't gone ahead to be a side that concedes very many goals. So, you never know. Bournemouth might obviously stop them from keeping a clean sheet because Arsenal at Emirates haven't gone ahead to keep very many clean sheets there. But away from home, they've gone ahead to keep very many clean sheets in there for you. Though their run was really ended by Spurs, but it was the orchestration of David Raya. Raya was the architect to see to it that Arsenal rubbishes all ends its winning run. You know, 6 only would have gone ahead to go 7 to match Man City, so to match Chelsea and Man United. Since Bournemouth picked up their first Premier League win of the season at the end of October versus Burnley, they have picked up 45 points in 26 games, 13 wins, 6 draws and 7 losses. Only the current top 4 sides have more in this time. They've never won more matches in top flight campaign than 13 in 2023-2024, also 13 in 2018-2019. So they are replicating what their season was in 2018-2019. Lastly, Arsenal have scored a league high 85 goals in their 35 Premier League games this season, with the average of 2.4 goals per game, their highest across a single campaign since 1934 to 1935, when they scored 115 goals in 42 matches, 2.7 per game. So it shows you that they played very many games, 115. That's why they really put out that. But Arsenal is scoring goals for fun, and I tell you, they might really have 15 goals to go. I tell you, they might find someone and really score 100. So that is it for Arsenal. And having gone ahead to show you all that, what's my prediction? 3-1 win for the club of Arsenal. 3-1 win for the club of Arsenal. I believe Kai Havertz is not going to stop scoring. I tell you, he might be scoring in every game that Arsenal is left with, because he's really on fire. 12 Premier League goals. That is Kai Havertz. And he can hit 15 very soon as a player. And Bukayo Saka, I also tip him to score. That is it. I think Saka will get back to scoring ways like he did against Tottenham Hotspur. Leandro Trossard is going to be key in this game of football. And the most important player that you guys have to put an eye on is the captain, fantastic. That is Martin Odegaard. Put all your eyes onto Martin Odegaard. You're really going to enjoy lots of things that is going to be putting into that game of football. Against Spurs, Odegaard was ghosting in the game, however much he tried a lot. And you know what happens to Odegaard when Arsenal is not really having high possession of the ball? His work ethicness is really huge, but you miss out onto that Odegaard good with the ball that we've all gonna hate, obviously love and see game in, game out. So that is it. But let's wait and see how that happens. And if Jesus starts, I think we'll be fighting to obviously get into a goal for the club of Arsenal. May the living to God bless you abundantly. Rokani David remains my name. That has been the match preview. I'm returning back with more news. Arteta is going to be addressing the media very soon. After him addressing the media, I'm going to be back here to break down that press conference and tell you whether Julian Timber is going to be part of the squad, because he's going to have to play 2 games that are really competitive with the under-21s, and we wait to see how things really pan out. I'm out. Muslims, Juma Karim. The Christians, we cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Bye-bye.